Okay, welcome to Tuesday night training, everyone. Thank you so much for your time, effort, and energy into this training. Staying close to the fire is super important on building your skills and your belief in this business. And whether you've been in this business for a few days, few months, or even a few years, you always need to hear something like several times for it to sink in. And also sometimes we just need to re-jog our memory at how things flow. So tonight I want to really discuss the art of inviting, or skill number 2. And sorry, I got distracted by the chat. So I'm going to try not to get distracted by the chat. If some of the leaders could write any answers that come up when I do share my presentation. So we're talking about the art of inviting, and I really want to, I guess, pre-frame how this is going to run. I'm going to share a video that Shani and Loz did, which gives you a very a great visual of you either being option 1 or option 2. Now, I know for all of us, we are option 1 when we first get started, and then we start to develop the skills to be option 2. So it's going to make so much more sense when I share this video with you. So hopefully, I'll share the screen. Hopefully you can hear it when I start it. If you've seen it, all good, but I'm still listening again at how this flows. Can't hear anything. I can't turn it up any more than it is. Let me see. It's already at 100%. No sound whatsoever. Oh, got it. This is such a good one. Dang it. All right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to flick that idea because I'm not going to muck around with the sound. But what I will do when I upload this training is I'm going to pop this in for you guys to watch. Pretty much basically outlines our conversations and flows. I'll definitely share the link. And initially, Loz is the Uber driver and Shani is catching the ride. And they're just having a generalized conversation like we all would online, and how sometimes we fumble our words, we find it awkward, and we don't know how to share this opportunity. And then they flip it on its head for the second half of the clip, and they actually show a flow that's realistic and at how we're supposed to, I guess, invite. So bummer that didn't work, but when I upload this, I will share that with you guys. If you haven't seen it, please do watch it. And let's get into my next section. So I wanted to talk on the GoPro book. We should all have this. So if you are fairly new and you've maybe heard your mentor or you just watched the newbies training about getting this book, you get it for free. You just have to pay for postage. It's like $6. It's a Bible. So pretty much it's chapter 5. And it's skill number 2, and it's one of those skills that you need to develop and practice and practice and practice. So I have the book because I highlight, I make notes, I refer back, and if you actually read the chapter, there's a few different ways at inviting. Tonight I'm going to talk about direct inviting, but there's a few other options outlined in his book, and it's very streamlined, easy to follow, and easy to articulate when you wish to invite to a prospect. Another section in this book is chapter 10, which is promoting events. So as a leader, or as you evolve into a leader, you're going to actively invite your team to these events. And I want you to be able to feel comfortable and confident at doing so. So I'm going to screen share again. This time there's no sound. We don't need to worry about that. We're just going to get straight into my presentation. It basically is going to outline each sequence. So let's get started. So it is a GoPro skill. You would have seen that when you go into Babes in Business, there's the 7 skills outlined. That pretty much is the leaders outlining the skills from Eric Worre's book. So please get that and start highlighting that. So I want you to be more aware of the events that are up and coming. So currently we have the Dream Team Gold Coast Boot Camp happening in February. And if you weren't aware or you weren't sure, we actually have a Repromote challenge attached to that, where you will go into an opportunity to win the boat experience on that Sunday. And I have to tell you, last year it was absolutely amazing opportunity to mingle with the leaders. We got to share champagne with Linda and learn from the greats, and obviously have a great time on the boat and celebrate the success of Repromoting. So Repromoting is you aiming for SDBF again, so you're already maybe there, but for some of us, you might just be starting and going for it now. So that is 4,000 points in a teamie minimum, and you have till the 15th of Feb to qualify for that. But if you haven't got your ticket for the boot camp, I highly recommend. It's like going to university each event. You learn and grow. We weren't all just business owners and we didn't know what we were doing from the get-go. It took time and going to these events. So if you haven't already, I don't know about you, but I'm a goal setter. So I've got a diary for 2019 and I've already allocated these events as a non-negotiable in the diary. So talk to your mentor if you need more information. Otherwise, check out the BIB events page and definitely jump in on those events. Before I move on events, I also wanted to mention events in your area. So we obviously have a very strong event here in the Gold Coast because a lot of us are from the Gold Coast. And we've just launched a Brisbane one. We've only just done our second event in Brisbane. And that purely was from the beautiful girls within our team. And Amanda, I have to give her a shout out as well, for stepping up and doing that. She's not an NMD. You don't have to be an NMD to create an event. It's really about creating that community, that culture, and an opportunity to share that culture in person. So if you're thinking about starting an event or you would like to learn how you can create one, please speak to your mentor and get one started. I know we are jumping into Adelaide in January as well. So definitely start creating some momentum with events and start including your team with that. So moving straight in, let's learn more on inviting and how we can do that well. Now it takes practice. Anything takes practice. When you're a baby, you don't just instantly roll, sit, walk, crawl, whatever. Like, it takes time of rocking and falling over, and you never hear the parents say, oh, just give up. Why'd you even bother with life? You can't even walk. Like, no, that does not happen. You just need to practice and practice. If you want to be great at sport, you know, you don't know the skills straight away, but you learn from the mentors around you and you become an awesome soccer player. So it's the same here. You want to practice enough, fall over, but get back up, have a face slap and go, oh, I could have done that different. And then start to understand the verbiage so that it's easier. It just flows naturally because you've done it so many times that it almost becomes second nature. And you'll find that the leaders, and when you start talking to your mentor about, you know, the conversations you're having and you're screenshotting, we organically have a flow now because we've just been doing it for so long. So please practice. When you're brand new, I have noted here that it'll be out of your comfort zone. I must tell you that you can't have any attachment to your outcome. You're not speaking to a person to get them or to try and push them into anything. You're just organically sharing what you have. And if it's for them, fantastic. If it's not, that's okay too. So you do have to step out of your comfort zone, but don't worry, it becomes comfortable pretty soon. And you may initially word vomit on people. I'll quickly share a story about me. When I first started, I didn't have any delay. I didn't, you know, think about it for 6 months. I said yes to this opportunity straight away. I knew how amazing it was. I just knew who it could benefit. My mind was pinging with all these ideas. And unfortunately for my friend at the time, we had a dinner, and I was obviously very hyped from the night before going to a Linda event where Shani first introduced me, and I said yes. And my friend came over for dinner, and she obviously asked, you know, what have you been up to? How's everything going? And I just was like this. I spoke a million miles an hour. I was like, oh my God, I've just joined this Juice Plus thing. I really don't know much about it, but it's some fruit and veg in a capsule, and there's a program. It's going to be so amazing. Plus it has a business opportunity. You should be a part of it. Oh my gosh, you would be so good at this. All you have to do is be online, and you just get to talk to people on social media. And it was like that. I just did not stop. I just word vomited on her. And I didn't know that at the time that wasn't the right thing to do realistically. We didn't have a 60 and 60. We were still at the early stages of creating this Babes in Business phenomenon with the scripts. So Shani was an amazing mentor, but I was on day one and I word vomited on that person. that person hasn't joined my team. She didn't join my team at the time. She didn't understand what I was talking about, but she still loves me all the same. We're still friends. But that's just something that you have to go through. You just fail forward and then you learn your lesson and you move on. So please make sure you don't word vomit on people. Take a step back, really think about, how you're going to approach this. And if you're not sure, have a look at the scripts or talk to your mentor. Before I move forward, a huge reminder in capitals is Babes in Business isn't a spamming business. We don't just flood messages to randoms in their inbox with links. It's not professional. We don't sell to people, and it's not our mantra. We want to share knowledge, we want to care for people, and we want a relationship build. So I just want to make sure that you're not doing that. And if you have some random links out there and you're having a face slap right now, it's okay, clean slate, we'll start fresh tomorrow. Okay, so we are going into the script section. So there's a lot of scripts that you can choose from within Babes in Business. Amanda just shared that with us. But I have to make sure that you are forming a relationship first. If you have no relationship, then randomly asking them these questions like a policeman isn't really going to be engaging, and they're probably going to take a step back. So I would want you to be mindful that even though we are online, that think about how you would actually approach someone in real life. How would you talk to them? How would that conversation flow? How would you speak? Would you say, hey, hun? Would you ask them about, what they did on the weekend and how the kids are? And, oh, your hair's all, a new color or a new style. It looks fabulous. You would actually have a conversation and have some rapport with that person before just going, bam. But for some of us, and I don't know, if maybe you want to raise your hand, are you at a point in the conversation where you feel like you're just pen pals, you're just buddies? Hands up if you got those conversations and you're like, I don't know where to go now. I don't know how to share that next step. Well, this is where I would love for us to start to merge it. There's a few options, but let's work with this first. You want to lead in with a question about, what they do for work, because usually what you ask them, they're going to ask you. So how was your weekend? Mine was great. Oh, how was yours? And then so forth. So you want to reflect what you want to actually get them to ask you. So we start off with, what do you do for work? And they'll come back. You might already know because you've stalked their page and you sort of understand and you just want to learn more about them, and they'll tell you what they are initially in. So before question 2, obviously you're going to go into how long have you done that for? You want to see what kind of commitment they have, what kind of passion they have behind that. But again, we're not a sergeant. We don't want to go, what do you do for work and how long have you been doing that? You ask them that initial question and then you go, oh, wow, oh, you're a nurse. That sounds like full on, thank you so much for all that you do, for the amazing, amazing causes that you do for foundations, or I've heard this about that. How long have you done that for? So you sort of relate a little bit more to what they say. If they were a personal trainer and they said, oh, I'm a PT, I work at Good Life, and it's so amazing, I work in Brisbane, blah, 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 I would say to them, I would be relatable. I'd go, oh my goodness, my background's in personal training too. Shift work is crazy. I used to work for Fernwood. How long have you done that for? And you can sort of see the general flow. So question number 3 is, how did you get into that? They'll either come back with, I left school and I fell into it, or it was my part-time job, or whatever their story. Maybe they did study and it was something they wanted to go for, and they've, just wanted to follow that road because their dad did. Whatever, they're going to tell you how they got into it. And then you will relate in some way and you will ask them, do you love it? Do you see yourself doing that forever? And it is here that you'll possibly gain a pain point. Not always, because some people do love their jobs and that's okay too. But you want to get to the stage where you have a pain point, because then it's a reflection of, this opportunity could be for you because of that pain point. So majority of people will say to you, no, it just pays the bills, or, no, the hours are long, or I don't see it like myself doing it forever. It's just for now, whatever they come back with. But then you head into question 5, and I love question 5 because it gets people dreaming again. It gets people thinking outside the box. It's, we pretty mundane and creatures of habit when we get up, brush our teeth, get the kids to school, get to work, pick up the kids from school, cook dinner and go to bed and do it all again. So for someone to come out and say, you know, what would you dream of doing? If you could do anything, like what would you love to do? You know, they can start telling you their visions or their interests. And again, another opportunity for you to go, oh, okay, well, they love helping people, or they're actually in the wellness field, or they, you know, want to be a stay-at-home mom, or, you know, they're in debt at the moment. If someone loves their job, you do have an opportunity to, you know, push along with the question by suggesting, you know, where do you see yourself going with that career? They're obviously very goal orientated. What do you foresee for yourself in the next 10 years? So we are highly paid master askers. So always, after you've had a little bit of a conversation, always end with a question to keep the conversation flowing. It'll just allow you to move into a compliment and merge them into sharing this opportunity. So jumping straight into the merger, and this is where you might be at the moment. You may have just started some questions, or you've asked questions along those lines. Now it's going, okay, how can I ask this question about them being part of my amazing movement? And it's called the compliment sandwich, and I love how Shani has really come up with this because it makes so much sense. You know, compliment the person, you speak of the opportunity, and then you sandwich it again with another compliment. And I don't know about you, but in this day and age, we are so busy, no one is offering any compliments. So if you're getting 2 or 3 in one message, I'm pretty sure their listening ears are on. So it is basically an if I would you question. And it might go along the lines of, oh my goodness, you're such a caring person. I love that, you know, you want to help people and you've been a nurse. And you know what, this is going to sound a bit out there, but you would be absolutely amazing at what I do. I don't know if you've heard of Babes in Business, and it may or may not be up your alley, but you're just so open and so thoughtful and etc. You're complimenting. Yeah, would it be of interest for you to learn more about Babes in Business? And yeah, and that's how you would sort of go with that. So the usual response to that kind of method is, what is Babes in Business? And that's the point that you want to get to. So I have also actioned here the CCC method, and on the next slide, I have that written out for you. So you can screenshot this, but it's also in Babes in Business. And I actually have it saved to my notes, so that I pretty much, when I'm ready up to that section in my messaging, I copy, I paste, I alter for the individual, and I send off. And honestly, it works a treat, because every time they usually say, thank you so much for thinking of me, or that's so sweet of you to say, what is Babes in Business? Okay, capital letters, we're back. I just cannot go on enough about word vomiting or sending a link at this point. You don't, if someone says, what is Babes in Business? You don't just go, woo, watch this link, you'll be awesome, can't wait for you to find out more about this. Because the psychology is, if people are told to do something, for some reason we just retaliate against it, or we just start getting like a bit badass, and we're like, because it's not really something that we have taken a step forward to look into. It's something that someone else has told us to do. So the usual response being, what is Babes in Business? We are ready to ask their permission about sending an info link. And it's really just the Babes in Business website. So you would say, if I was to share a link with you, would you like to check it out? And when you watch that video of Shani and Loz, you'll completely see the flow and how easy that is to say, and that person will say, sure. So you'll just send through the babesinbusiness.net website. You'll elaborate more on the info video when hopefully you've all jumped on the Babes in Business website. It's generic for all of us to use, so no leads go to anyone else. It's, you know, from what you have sent to that person. Even on the bottom of the website it says, if you'd love to learn more, please connect to the person that led you here. So you know, you're going to share the website, and they're going to look at the info video, but they're also going to do their own research. We are creatures where we want to Google everything, and if we can lead them away from that and lead them to the actual source of information, there's reasons or testimonials, what we're about, upcoming podcasts and events, and really shows the culture and the tribe and vibe. And so it doesn't share a whole lot of info, but it just gives them a teaser, enough to ask, like, what is it? Can you share more info? Or I saw this about this testimonial. You want them to come back from that. So I'm just going to go to the next slide for the CCC script. So if you want to screenshot this, you can. If you have had previous conversations and you're like, oh, I totally know, I'm picking on Amanda tonight. I totally know Amanda mentioned something about, you know, she hates her job and I've left it about 2 days. I'm just going to send this to her. And that's when you'll join the two. You'll come out, not of nowhere, you'll make sure you look at her page and that she's been posting. And you'll go, hey babe, or hey Amanda, I just saw your post on this. You know, it got me thinking about you. And you're going to think I'm crazy, but I just have to tell you, you would be amazing at what I do. You're so compliment, whatever's, you know, going to relate to them. But I just have to ask, what do you think about working with me and Babes in Business? Again, they're going to say, thank you, and what is Babes in Business? So please utilize that, guys. It's an amazing script and it does wonders. Ask any leader, we utilize this pretty much for everything. Okay, so they've looked at the website. You're like, okay, I've got a foot in the door. They're on my 30-day grid. What do I do when they want to know more? What is it? Do I send a link now? How do I follow up with them? Or I've already sent out a link and I'm trying to figure out, like, do I just text them? Let's just go through the quick steps one more time and how we're going to get them to the webinar section. You have formed a relationship. You've asked some awesome questions to lead into what they're currently doing, what they're tired of, and hit a pain point. And then you've given them a compliment sandwich, which has led them to saying, yes, I'm interested to look at the website. This is where then we do not send a webinar, but they've basically put the foot in the door to jump into the preview group because they wanted to learn more. So you will basically tag them into a story or a couple of stories of relevance and even your mentor's story. And when you come to step 5 here, there's A and B to choose from, but hopefully we're all using A because unless you're an SC rank or above, we really want you to do 3-way calls. We really want you to engage with a 3-way message thread with your potential, obviously to edify how much we are connected as a Babes in Biz unit, how much we support each other, how much knowledge is there. And it just allows a bit more confidence from you when you're first starting for your mentor to take the reins and show you the flow and the verbiage, just so that you're not whipping out links or getting really nervous or word vomiting. So step 5, we're going to... Can that person please mute themselves? Because otherwise I have to stop the share and figure that out. Thank you. Okay, so they have said, tell me more. At this point, you're going to edify your mentor and you're going to suggest to them, I'm so excited. I cannot wait to share more info with you. What I'm going to do is introduce you to my amazing friend and mentor in this business, Shani. Shani has been doing this business for 3 years. She was a nurse when she first started and now she makes this full-time income and is traveling all over the world, and I just cannot wait for you to meet her. And you will jump in that message thread, and that's what you'll do. You'll edify your mentor, and then you'll also just add there, hey Shan, I also wanted to let you know about Chelsea. Chelsea's interested in learning more about what we do, and I know that she's so passionate about health and yoga, and I just had to introduce the two of you. That's all you have to do, and then your mentor will take the reins and start to go through the flow. If your mentor isn't available, remember that you have 5 mentors to work with. If that just doesn't work out for you and you feel confident, then this is at this point where you will organize a follow-up call. So there's still no webinar. You're going to organize the follow-up call, and you're basically hitting step 6 by suggesting, hey, I would love to chat more about this with you. Let's set up a 15-minute video call. When are you free? This week. Try and keep it in within a week. The hype is there. I do it via voice message now, A, because I'm lazy and I don't like typing, and B, it just shows your genuine excitement. It's a short message, and yeah, it just adds a little bit more value. And that's all you have to do. Hey, let's chat. I'm super excited to share more. You know, let's do a video call for 15 minutes. When are you free this week? So make sure you allow them to answer. Make sure they tell you when they're free. Because remember, we don't want to tell them, oh, I've got Friday, do you want to chat? Because they're being told what to do and not actually wanting to be there. They're not choosing to allocate that time. You are choosing. So make sure you put the ball in their court every time. So you allow them to answer and they say, Friday. Then you will return going, Friday is perfect. Does 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. work for you? They'll come back with 9 a.m. and then you confirm. So your first time of confirming going, awesome, cannot wait for 9 a.m. on Friday. And then I know it sounds crazy, but step 7 again is confirming again. But this time in the blurb, you will say to them, I'm just going to set that timer on Messenger. And I don't know if you use it, but I certainly use it. It helps with my schedule. But in the Messenger, you can actually set the time that you're actually going to meet. So on Friday at 8 a.m. and an alert actually comes on an hour before. So they'll see that and they'll receive that alert as well. But it's just that extra confirmation that you are serious, that you've set the time and they're seeing it and planting it in their mind. And hopefully they write it in their diary as well. And then the last step is when you're sending the webinar. So you need to make sure that you reiterate that they need to watch the webinar before the follow-up call. You don't want to waste your time or your mentor's time when you get to that 3-way and they haven't watched the webinar and you're sort of asking questions, but it's not relevant and you don't want to have to put on your own, Juice Plus webinar online at the time because it just looks like a word vomit and it doesn't quite have the vibe of the girls. So whenever I've confirmed, I say to them, awesome, here is the webinar. It runs for 30 minutes. I just want to make sure that you'll be able to see the webinar prior to our call on Friday at 9 a.m. Is this achievable for you? And if they say yes, fantastic, you're done and dusted. If they say actually no, then you're going to have to reschedule time. So does that make sense, guys? Like thumbs up with yes. I don't know if I spoke too fast, but the steps are pretty basic, but all I want to say, if this is something that you just take away from tonight, do not send a link until you have a follow-up call booked. Okay, next slide. We're getting through it pretty quick. We're doing well. Okay, I just wanted to touch base at this point on the Acuity Scheduler. For some of us that are new, you may not be aware of this, and that's okay. The 9 steps that I just explained is where you guys are at. I don't want you to add any extra noise at this point because if you're new, you're trying to work on DVF and SDVF. But when you're at SDVF and around abouts, you'll probably want to start looking at your Acuity Scheduler and learning more about that, purely because it just helps allocate your time. It gives the other person, your potential or even your team, the control to get into your calendar that you've set, that they've allocated the time and the commitment. And there's actually a training on this that Shani did where we can automate the process. So if someone does wish to learn more, you will say to them, fantastic, cannot wait to share more and chat. Here's my scheduler link. Please pick a time that's suitable for you and I look forward to chatting then. And it's automated. So once they choose the time, it's locked in, they'll receive an email of confirmation and they'll also receive a webinar done and dusted. Oh, my PC is running low. I hope I don't lose you. Okay, so that's the Acuity Scheduler. So for those that may want to look more at automation, please do. Okay, I'm going to have to be really annoying. I will lose you, so I'm going to have to plug in my my laptop. 1 second, guys. Okay. Okay, so we are in I hope I'm still on and that didn't disrupt us in any way. We're into the follow-up preparation to the call. This is exciting. It's happening. Hopefully your diaries are booked with follow-up calls. That is the end goal, guys. Your diary is your boss, and if your boss doesn't have awesome follow-up calls booked with your mentor, then we need more conversations and more invitations out. So prior to, it's really important 12 hours before or just pending. If you have an afternoon call, then I, in the morning of, will connect in the three-way or with my potential, basically just confirming the time. Looking forward to seeing you this afternoon at X o'clock. I hope that you have a wonderful morning. So it just, again, I popped up into their inbox, I'm front of mind, and hopefully they confirm for that. If you have a morning call booked, then, you know, the night before, certainly reach out into that three-way or to your potential and say, just confirming our call tomorrow morning at, you know, 6 a.m. Looking forward to seeing your beautiful face, or whatever feels organic for you. And then an hour before. So the hour before, if you have set that alarm on your messenger, that automatically comes up saying meeting in an hour. But it's at that time for me that I actually send through my Zoom link. So I will say to them, super excited to see you in an hour, grab a cuppa, looking forward to hearing about, you know, what you liked best. Here is my Zoom link information. All you need to do is tap on the link, and if you're on a PC, it opens automatically. If you are utilizing your phone today, just go on 5 minutes earlier so it downloads the free app. And that's it. So I've done 2 confirmations with them. It sort of gives you a good insight to whether or not they're going to show up. If they haven't seen your first message, you know, they may not be showing up. And if they don't reply to the hour before, again, they may not be showing up. But you want to make sure that you're on point, that you're professional, that you're running a business, and that you're taking this seriously. So I did cover before about doing your follow-up calls with your mentor. When you are getting started, your mentor will run the call for you. You may have some engagement at that time, but it's an opportunity for you to learn and to understand the verbiage and feel more confident. Practice, as we said, practice will get you to your confidence, but we aren't competent straight away. So that's why we want to do those. So for me, for the teamies that are in my inbox with three-way calls, I'm investing my time. I am helping them because they're open to learning. And that is the point of this business. They are to be teachable. And that is what we're trying to show you guys, to make sure that you utilize your mentors, that we show you the way, and you have a higher success rate. When you are on a follow-up call with your leader, you've already edified them in a three-way messenger thread. You're now on the call, and your mentor is going to edify you as an amazing leader. And it just shows the camaraderie, the support, as I said, and the nurture. And you have a higher success rate of that person saying yes, purely because of that. So keep that in mind. Okay, so pretty much to end this call and to end this training, I just wanted to touch base on Teamzy. I know that there's some really cool things that you can do on Instagram to, you know, keep people front of mind and to also track. And we've got amazing 30-day grids that we ride on. But if you're really passionate, and obviously when you first start, we're working on a lot of conversations and writing a lot of things down. I wanted to bring Teamzy back to the forefront because we had a training yesterday that Shani has put forward, and it is amazing. I cannot elaborate on it enough. You do get your first 30 days free. So if you are just starting this business, it's okay. There's no initial outlay. It's just a great opportunity for tracking, to have a business online where it's telling you pretty much where you need to go and what to do, and you don't get lost in the scroll hole. So please speak to your mentor about that training and the online platform so that you're able to track your conversations, and so that you are able to know, you know, are you sending out invites? How many invites are you sending out each day? Because that's what Teamzy is basically doing for us right now. Shani made a very valid point. I mean, over the years, I hear many things on inviting, and I pick up many things, and I find this very valid, that when you're first initially meeting someone, it's going to take a few weeks to build and form a relationship. Even when, like, if you reflect on dating, you don't just go, oh my gosh, they are totally going to be my boyfriend, and we're going to get married, and we're going to have 5 kids. And like, you don't know anything about them yet. So you want to actually form and take that time, and you go on a couple of dates. So make sure that you do really take that time to love and nourish on those people around you. Sometimes it takes longer than 2 weeks, that's okay, but you are kiss, hugging or private messaging them and really communicating and staying front of mind by keeping them on your grid and communicating over that period of time before you get to send your invite. And the last thing that I will say is this business is a marathon, not a sprint. So I have been in my 2.5 years of business to every event except for one. And the only way I've excelled is because I learned a new skill or a new skill has set in purely from those events. The only reason I have projected more in my business is because I go into the 7 skills and I remind myself, or I look at my GoPro highlights and I remind myself at how I can approach. So it takes time, guys. They say it takes 7 years to be a professional at this. So you're going to fail forward, you're going to feel uncomfortable, it's going to be awkward, it's not going to make sense. But the best part about this business is you don't need to know everything all at once. We are here to help you, and I hope that tonight's training really helped you with the flow, puts your mind at ease, that you don't just have to spam people, and just making sure that you keep your invitation close to your heart and only giving it out when those that commit to you, you're going to commit to them. We don't just share webinars randomly and hope for the best. So I'm going to stop my share there. I'm not sure if there was questions, but I'm sure it was all answered at the time. So thank you so much, guys, for jumping on tonight. That is team training done. I'm just going to stop the recording.